Yo guys, what's going on? Robert Warshack here, and we have Hearthstone just tweeted about the standard and battlegrounds balance update. We're going to focus on the standard update as that's what we normally play. We've got actually a huge amount of changes. We have the new expansion and the core rotation just occur. So we've had about a week and a half to see how things have settled up. And there's definitely a huge amount of outliers in the meta. There's been very prominent, about 3 to 4 decks that have just seemed overly strong, while a lot of the other decks that contain some new cards not see much action at all. So hopefully with this balance change, we will see a lot of the new cards start being played a lot more than the StarCraft cards and some of the more powerful stuff we saw in the Great Dark Beyond. So taking a look at the nerfs, as those are probably going to be the most impactful out of the buffs. Generally, nerfs affect the meta more than buffs, which is why they buff fewer cards than nerf, because nerfing ends up making the best decks weaker, which then allows the not so good decks to kind of rise up. Leech DK, the Beetle, the Husk. This is definitely an outlier. It's definitely very good, and it's a very, very popular deck. I didn't really look at Leech DK being really that big of a problem, to be honest, because once the leeches run out, it's really just Kill Jaden and their life that you have to chunk through. So it's weird that they would focus the new leech mechanic and not the other things that make it go infinite. So like Kill Jaden being like a Warlock only legendary, which I tweeted out, or potentially making it so like it's a limited demon deck, or Kill Jaden just costs like 10 mana since it just voids out the entire fatigue package. But yeah, don't really like the leeches being nerfed here. Leapfroggy Frog, that 2 mana aquatic form card in Hunter, that Zerg Hunter is probably the best deck in the game. Looked at HS replay, Zerg Token Hunter was #1, followed by like another variation of Zerg Hunter. So that card being touched, considering it goes infinite, is really annoying. We don't like that. Murmur being touched is huge. Murmur Shaman played a ton at top 1000 legend, and it is, if anything, feels like a Dungar Druid. If they get Murmur with the location and then they just summon Nebula with a bunch of stuff, it's just a turn 6 to turn 7 entire board of things you can't remove. Very similar to how Dungar felt. So that's really good. Food Fight. We actually just posted our Food Fight Warrior. It's very sad it got nerfed so fast, but I can see why. I think when making the video, I'm like, I can see this card getting nerfed. At the time, I had no idea because they hadn't locked in the balance change yet and it wasn't on the radar, but it looks like that deck did get hit. A lot of people were hitting top 100 legend with that, and Food Fight makes it so there's a lot of non-games. You double Food Fight or Food Fight into your Briar Spawn Drake, and then you just win. So play that Warrior deck while you can. I'll be playing it on stream today. So for those of you watching this right now when I post it, I will be streaming on Twitch with Control Leech DK and the Food Fight Warrior on my free-to-play Asia account, which I do every once in a while. So if you want to tune in for that, feel free. Ceaseless, this guy's in like 50%, if not more, of all decks. He's just a neutral AoE that just like is too good. I can see them definitely nerfing how fast he comes out, so increasing his mana cost probably is the only thing you can do. So it'll be the only card above 100 mana to play. Dungar getting hit, I just see him going to like 10 or something instead of 9. Again, having those non-games is just not fun. Druid can get Dungar out very soon with stuff like Innervate and the ramp. So just like taking out Dungar and just making it so those non-games don't feel terrible. It's like, oh, your opponent played Dungar. Oh, they got a giant board. Oh, I lose. That's not fun. No one wants that. Sea Giant, this guy absolutely was going to get hit. This is a 0 mana 8/8. I feel like every giant that's ever been introduced into Hearthstone has had its time to shine and just been broken. Whether you're talking about Molten Giant, Mountain Giant, Arcane Giant, Sea Giant, the giant that was in Warlock that when you took damage got discounted. Every giant besides probably the hero power giant has been nerfed and or changed in some way. The defense crystal, we all saw this coming with Demon Hunter. That's just not a fun deck, not good. I would have liked to see them increase the mana cost of defense crystal and then basically just revert back its armor to 6. I think that's the best thing. I think the card is good. I think it should still be found in Starship decks. I just don't think it should do the whole infinite armor with either Warlock and or Demon Hunter. Zerg location, Zerg decks are like, again, probably the strongest archetype in the game right now, found in Hunter. It's hate to see that they lost it in Death Knight, because I do think Death Knight Zerg, they could have just made the Zerg guy give like a battle cry +1/+1, remove that death rattle effect, and we're okay because the death rattle synergy was too much. But they completely gutted Death Knight Zerg, which I think is silly, as it was a really good deck for newer to intermediate players to play at a decent level. But the location getting nerfed, given how powerful it was, makes sense. Liftoff, I don't really like this. I think Liftoff was fine. They already nerfed a lot of the other Starship mechanics, and like, I don't know, Liftoff seemed okay to me. The Protoss card as well, the Chrono Boost, being able to draw all of your basically Protoss cards early. Again, I don't like the card had charge. I know Zealots in StarCraft had charge, but this isn't StarCraft, so we could have just made the card have rush, and I think that solves a lot of issues. I don't think charge in Hearthstone is a particularly good keyword because you don't get to interact with that. So if you would have just made him rush and keep it the same, I think that would have solved a lot of issues. And then the Protoss hero, obviously, if all the other heroes went to 8 mana and this was the only 7 mana one, I think it just goes to 8, and that solves that problem as well. Just even them all out so they're all on the same exact power level. Taking a look at the buffs, it looks like there is the Imbue Mage with the bird that looks okay. There's some Druid stuff here with the nature spells that could be okay. And then we have the Imbue guy that does 5 damage. They probably bring that guy down in mana cost just to make so you can play it easier and deal 5 damage or 4 damage. I don't know what they're going to do with that. Imbue's really not that strong right now, so I haven't seen a lot of him. And then I do see 2 Shaman cards here. The 2 mana Imbue heal 4. That card was terrible. I don't even know how you could have ever let that card slide past balance, as it is just, I played Imbue Shaman and it just, I didn't even play the card even though it had Imbue on it because it was so bad. So for that, you either bring it down to 1 mana heal 4 Imbue, or you keep it at 2 mana and add like draw a card to it. Those were my 2 recommendations when playing with it because apparently no one else did. And then the Living Garden was another really weird card because of the fact that it's just a 3 mana 2/3 do nothing, and it discounts a random minion in your hand. So it either has to discount by 2, discount 2 minions by 1. They either need to decrease the mana cost, decrease the stats, or I guess you could increase the stats on it for the mana cost, but I don't think that's the best thing for the Living Garden. I either think you need to get it off of 3 and make it like a 2/2, or you need to pump it up to 3 and make it a 3/3. Give it some survivability or let it do something other than currently nothing. So with that, good balance patch. I think we've targeted a lot of things. I would have liked to see a few more buffs to stuff. To be honest, I really do think there is a lot of room to grow in this expansion. There's a lot of really fun cards that just can't see the light of day just because of the fact that how strong the meta is. And I'm glad we targeted Zerg. I'm glad we targeted location stuff, but I don't exactly know where we're going to land. The Zerg and the Murmur and the Dungar is a good hit, and I think Ceaseless is a surprise, which is also, I think, a great hit because it just neutral cards that are found in 50% of decks that are auto include, and if you just don't play them, makes your deck worse, I think is bad. I think there needs to be, when you build a deck, there needs to be thought, and there needs to be, you know, a reason to play it and just not an auto slot into every single deck. So these buffs and nerfs will go live tomorrow, which is Friday, which I'll also be excited to play with these then. So with that, what do you think? Did we get it right? Did we get it wrong? Is Hearthstone saved? I think it'll be a better meta. I just don't know if it'll be the perfect meta. I don't like Leech DK being hit. Again, we don't know how bad the hit is, but I'm assuming instead of 3, it does like 2, or we're going to increase mana cost to like 7. So with that, thanks to you all for watching. Catch you on Twitch if you happen to hop over there, and happy whatever the hell day it is.